Shalom, shalom, Shabbat, shalom to the nation. Happy Sabbath, happy rest day, peaceful Sabbath, peaceful rest day, right? Peace to all the brothers and the sisters out there. Um, I said 11 o'clock, so here I am, man. It's 11 o'clock on the dot. Try to be punctual, waiting for the other brothers to log on while I do that, trying to get my precepts organized, right? Just let, hey, any teachers out there desiring to teach, I always say a good rule of thumb is to have your lesson outlined, right? You can always go through the spirit as you grow in the truth. You're gonna remember precepts, gonna commit them to memory, but it always helps to map out what you're about to teach. Keeps it organized, let everything be done decent and in order. Keeps it organized, and it also keeps you in a rhythm, not to get long-winded, so you have stuff to move on to. 1 second. Right? Hold up. And I hope everybody hope everybody made it through the week, man. I hope everybody endured. I know for me, um, my week, the Most High God, I got right testimony break. I know for me, Slakia. I know for me and my week, the Most High God blessed me early. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I was on fire, and it was those days where it's like, and I'm talking about in my workplace. The Most High God gives us favor and excellence in our workplace sometimes, right? Just like He put that spirit of excellence on Daniel, right, in the kingdom of Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar, right? So I pray to have that spirit of excellence on me and my family and friends too, right? That we can endure in this land. But Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, man, there was days where it was like Monday, I was like, okay, it's a good week. It's a good start to my week. Then Tuesday happened. I was like, oh, I think this probably be the best day of the week. I don't see how it can get any better. Then Wednesday happened. Now I was like, wow, he just cut my tongue, because Wednesday was like, wait, 2 times better than Tuesday, so-called Tuesday, right? Um, and then Thursday and Friday, I'm not gonna say they let me down, but it was a nice little settle into the Sabbath, right? But I'm still grateful, still thankful. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and honor to the Most High God, by the way of His Son, who's an instrument of salvation, right? He used His Son as an instrument of salvation of Israel, right? So, hey, first and foremost, we got to give reverence and obeisance where it's due. Shalom to everybody that's going to watch this, everybody that's going to jump on this call. You could be doing anything, but you're getting edified, but you're fellowshipping, but you're gathering with the saints, right? We call ourselves the hopeful elect, and hopefully you guys are the hopeful elect as well. Another shalom to all the cleavers, right? We know that there's going to be cleavers in the last days that accept their role, accept their place, understand who the Most High God is, right? He's the God of gods, and understand um, what they must do to get to the kingdom. And that's keep His commandments, man, regardless, you His child or not. Whether you chosen or not, you got to keep these commandments. But without further ado, man, we're going to get into the lesson. The brothers should be on shortly. If they do get on, all praises. If not, we move through the spirit, right? The title of this is going to be Don't Give Up on God, because He will give up on you, right? A lot of us come from the Christian church. We know this song to be a staple, right? But it doesn't go like the title is, right? But this Factual Friday, we switching it up, right? So you can sing, don't give up on God, because He will give up on you. Reprobate, right? He's able to make you reprobate. So let's get into it. All right. Got my precepts lined up, and we'll kind of go through the spirit once, we Salakia. Salakia, bear with me. Bear with me. Salakia, right? About to add something else to the lineup. Let me see. Come, okay. Con. So let's get into it. Don't give up on God, cause He will give up on you. Reprobate. All right. Let's read this. Romans 1:28. This is gonna be where we start off with, right? This is gonna break the ground for the argument that God will give up on you. A lot of people think, especially in Christianity, especially in the Nation of Islam too, right? Nation of Islam, one thing they got right was love, right? They got that love factor down and they show love one to another, brother and sister, right? But the thing about it is there's a balance, right? God does love and he loves strong, right? But there's a balance. Christianity, they got it wrong where they said that God won't give up on you. We see through the scriptures over and over and over again. We're gonna get an account that all of us kind of remember when reading through um, the scriptures, right? A lot of us might not have thought about it. Some of us might have been puzzled, and we just kept moving on. We're gonna get an account, and we're gonna talk about it and dissect it, right? A lot of people think that God will not give up on you. Now there are some who are called, and it doesn't matter what they do, right? God's always going to be with them. But not everybody is anointed in that way. You could be chosen and still not be anointed in that way, right? Matter of fact, through this, let me get an example, right? You guys might know where I'm about to go with this, but I'm going to get somebody that God never left, right? Regardless of his sin. Right? You guys may know this. You guys might not have known this. Who who did the most high God say he would never leave, right? Or forsaken? Who would always show mercy in the sight of his sin? I see the brother Denal in the background. I'm not gonna add him though, because I know he likes to get prepared before he just hops on the screen. But shalom to him. Trying to find it. I don't recall the precept per se, right? But I kind of remember the phrasing of it. The brother must be having technical difficulties. He logged off. Salakia for this. I just want to pull this up. I think it would be a good example. Khan, found it. I found it, right? Let me pull this up. Ain't no rush. What are we in a rush for? It's the Sabbath. We got plenty of time. It's not gonna be a long lesson though. So that's why I'm trying to add fillers, man. Make it a good lesson for y'all. Let's see. Let's see. Con. All right. All right. Got it locked and loaded. We're gonna be ready. Shalom.
Shalom. Is it echo?
It's a little echoey. It's gone now.
Shalom. Shalom. Can you hear me?
Con, brother got a new setup. Say something.
Shalom.
There you go. It's clear now. Brother got the mic.
How the mic sound? Does it sound different?
Sound louder. Sound a little clearer.
Con.
Only if you would stop moving it. It's one of those sensitive mics. You move it, you're gonna hear every little ruffle. You feel me? Con. But yeah, like I was saying though, right? Now, don't give up on God because he will give up on you. All right. Now, like I said, there are some people where God didn't leave, right? You might mistake yourself to be a lucky chosen one that God just doesn't leave. And you know, when we come into this truth, we all feel like, man, I just always feel like God was with me, man. Even in Christianity, even when I was a Muslim, even when I was in Buddhism and crystals, just always feel like God was with me. God was with you. I'm not saying God is not with you, right? But that put another precept in my head, man. But you can get that precept in Wisdom of Solomon, where it talks about the spirit. Where's that in Sirach? Where it talks about the spirit will walk with you. You know what I'm talking about?
I know in Wisdom of Solomon where it talks about wisdom being in the breath of God.
No, I'm talking about where it says she will walk with you and
that's in Sirach.
Get that for me, Baba Kashaf. Right, I'm gonna pull up this other precept I had. What is this? So, like I said, now there are some in the. Come on now, don't be acting up on me. Don't act up on me. Right, Lord willing, this whole live goes through flawlessly. But so check this out. Don't give up on God because he will give up on you. There are some who were called and God anointed, and he never left them. Right? When David saw Bathsheba, right, and he let his lust tempt him into abusing his authority, guess what? The Most High God didn't leave David, right? When Saul in the New Testament, before he was Paul, when he was leading Christians to the cross and not in a good way, when Saul was doing that, did the Most High God leave him? No, he didn't. So there are people throughout the book, and there's people in this lifetime now, right, where God will never leave them, right? It doesn't matter. It don't matter if they gave up on God or not. God won't leave them, right? What I mean by sinning, breaking his law, right? But that's not all of us. So this message is to edify and exhort you to be careful with the Most High God, not to think like a Christian and that once saved, always saved. He loves me and he'll always forgive me. And every time I wake up, I just have to thank him. And he loves me so much, he'll forget about what I did yesterday. No, you have to repent, turn, change from your ways. Khan, the sister says, you are good. Sounds good. Adawan, Lord, right? So this is the first example I wanted to read, right? If the brother could read this for me. Did you find that other one?
Khan, I believe I found the right one.
Khan, read that one real quick.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 17. For at first she will walk with him by crooked ways and bring fear and dread upon him. And
Khan, talking about the spirit of God.
And torment him with her discipline.
And this is wisdom as well.
Until she...
So check this out. Now, a lot of us throughout the world, right, throughout our life experiences, you know, we feel like God's always been there and God has always been there. The Spirit's always been with us, right? But it's testing you, it's trying you, right? Unlike David, unlike Moses, hey, sometimes that Spirit will leave us if we're not careful, right? Keep reading.
Khan, until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws.
Hey, God is only going to be there. The Spirit's only going to be with you until it feels like it can trust you or it cannot trust you. It's only going to give you ample amount of times. Now, everybody's ample amount of times is different. Your time might be 7, his time might be 10, your time might be 3, right? Even nowadays, parents deal with their kids differently. So the Most High God does the same way, right? Keep going.
Khan. Then will she return to the straight way unto him and comfort him and show him her secrets.
Right. Only when the Spirit trusts you, will you be fully brought into this truth. But if the Spirit don't trust you, best believe you're going to be turned reprobate. You had something to say?
Khan, I was just going to give the context in verse 11. Who is the she that it's talking about? Verse 11. Wisdom exalteth her children and layeth hold of them that seek her. He that loveth her loveth his life. Right? Pretty much giving you the context of what this is talking about, right? So when it refers to her, she, is talking about wisdom, right? And key point here is that it says wisdom exalteth her children and layeth hold of them that seek her, right? Wisdom is really only going to dwell with those that seek her, right? What is the wisdom? These laws, statutes, and commandments, right? The Spirit of God. It's only going to dwell with those that seek her.
So check this out. Some of us, that Spirit is going to leave us, right? That's why I titled this, Don't Give Up on God, because he will give up on you. Some of us, we like to try our parents' patience, right? We like to touch the stove even when they said it was hot. We like to get the police involved when all they're trying to do is discipline us, right? We like to run away to our friend's house sometimes. And sometimes we like to do drugs and alcohol to test our parents' patience. They're always going to accept me back in the house until they kick you out. And the Most High God is like that, right? Let's read this, though. I'm going to get this one example, then we'll get rolling, right? If you could read this for me.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, and verse number 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers.
Talking about David. This is David. David's getting to the end of his life here. And I believe this is the prophet Nathan, um, either the prophet Nathan or what prophet was this? Let me see.
And Samuel.
Yeah, prophet Nathan, the prophet Nathan, right? Which I believe was his son as well. But yeah, we're talking about David here. Dang, what verse were we at?
12, 11,
12.
12.
So the prophet Nathan, I believe, which is David's son, is prophesying to him about the latter part of his life and what's to come after him, right? Go ahead.
Khan, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom.
Who is this talking about? Who is the seed after David? Who got their kingdom established, right? If you read, you should know, right? Let's go to the next verse.
Verse 13, he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever.
Right. He's going to build a house for the Lord. Who built the house for the Lord after David? Because David wanted to. Let's keep going.
Verse 14, and I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men,
Right.
and with the stripes of the children of men.
Right. So guess what? He said, he's going to be my son. Now, if he go off, I'm going to chasten him with punishment. Just like I chastised you, David. I chastised you when you went off and you did what you did to Bathsheba. I killed your firstborn son. I know it hurt, but you learn from it. Just like that's what we got to do. We got to bring tears to our kids sometimes so that they learn from it, right? That rod of correction, right? God doesn't like seeing us upset or sad, but he has to do it, right? He has to chastise us with the stripes of the children of men. What does it mean by the stripes of the children of men? He's going to use men on the earth to carry out his judgments on you, on this person, on this son. Who is it? It's Solomon. I'm gonna give it up to y'all. It's King Solomon. King Solomon came after David and he established a kingdom. And Most High God said that he would be his son. But what else did he say?
Verse 15, but my mercy shall not depart away from him.
What does it say?
But my mercy shall not depart away from him.
Khan. He said, but my mercy shall not depart. Now, all of us are not King Solomon. You know why? Because all of us, our immediate dad is not David. King Solomon was fortunate enough for his dad to be David, and he got this mercy from his dad. The Most High God said, my mercy shall not depart away from his life. So guess what? King Solomon, he can sing that song. Don't give up on God, because he won't give up on you. He can sing that song, but we all can't sing that song. King Solomon got all those wives and all those kids, right? He went astray from the Lord. He chastened the nation of Israel and made them have hard service to him when it didn't need to be as hard, right? And he's the one that kind of did like a Paul, right? He made the northern kingdom flee away, right? And break away from the house of David, right? And we became two nations. Yes, King Solomon did that, but God promised David, my mercy shall not depart from him. You are not King Solomon, right? You are not King Solomon. And that's the point of this lesson. Do not play with God, right? Do not play with God. Let me see here real quick. Let's go on to the next precept. Now, getting into the lesson, right? Salakia. I'm gonna read the first precept that I read earlier, so we can just get a good flow. Read this for me, Baba Kasha.
The book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind.
Now, guess what? King Solomon, right? And that's the last time I'm gonna bring up King Solomon, and we're gonna move on. But King Solomon, he didn't retain God in his knowledge a few times. Some might say David didn't retain God in his knowledge a couple of times. Some might say Saul. Some might say Peter. Some might say who's somebody else that kind of went astray? Samson. Some might say Samson. but they were anointed. Not to say that if you're watching this video, you're not anointed, but sometimes we do not compare it to some of these men that the Most High God chose to write about to bring us into the truth, right? That's why he says, prepare the search of thy fathers, to read about these good men, right? And to know that they're human, but in their weakness, the Most High God was made strong. So God's telling us here, because men on the earth, men and women, didn't want to retain God in their knowledge. You don't want to think about God on your day-to-day. You don't want to think about God when you make decisions or before you make decisions, right? What does it say after that? Keep going.
To do those things which are not convenient.
Right? God gave them over to a reprobate mind. What does it mean to be reprobate? Right? Reprobate means to what? It's fake. He gave you over to a fake mind, a delusional mind, to do those things which are not convenient. What does it mean by not convenient? Things that won't get you into the kingdom. God said he'll give you over. He'll give up on you. Don't give up on God, because he will give up on you, right? Let me find the next precept. Which one do I want to go to next? Right. Let's say one for, let's get Matthew 13 and 13. Matthew 13 and 13. Can you read this for me, Baba Kasha?
The book of Matthew, chapter 13, and verse number 13. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand.
Hey, so Christ right here was talking to his disciples, and he said he speaks to some in parables, right? A lot of times what we're teaching, even though we don't mean it to come off as parables, it comes off as parables to the unlearned. It comes off as parables to those that have already been given over to a reprobate mind. They don't understand what we're saying. They don't understand the teachings. It could be a simple breakdown. It could be plain upon tables, but they do not understand. They have eyes, but they cannot see what we're talking about. They have ears, but they cannot hear. They cannot listen to what we're saying and understand it, right? Because the Most High God said, because you gave up on me. I walked with you like we read in Sirach, that wisdom. I walked with you. I tried you, and I found you untrustworthy. And now I've departed from you. And now when I speak in parables, it's plain to some, but to the other flock, they don't get it, right? Read this next verse.
Verse 14. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of
Isaiah, right? Keep going.
Which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive.
Right. So it was prophesied that God was going to give up on some of the children of Israel. We all talk about the 2/3, right? But that 2/3, right? A lot of times, hey, look, I always say this. I believe that 1/3, it is, I speak as a man. I believe that 1/3 are the lost. They never even came to the knowledge of the truth. Then I believe the other part of that 2/3 are the people that came to the knowledge of the truth and are living wrong. They still wanted to follow their own vain opinions. They still wanted to glorify and follow man. They still wanted to do their own thing and justify sin, right? They still wanted to add and subtract to the law, right? Those men, because they didn't retain God in their knowledge, remember the first precept, Romans 1 and 28, God's going to give them over to a reprobate mind, a fake, deceptive mind, right? God will give up on you once you give up on him. And that's just. He's the almighty judge, right? He's the one that holds the power to condemn. I can't condemn you. I can rebuke you. I can judge you. I can reprove you. I can't condemn you, though. I can't put you nowhere. The Most High God can, and he does it justfully, right? Right? Let's keep going here.
Verse 15, for this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed.
Right? So check this out. This people's heart is waxed gross, right? A lot of times you come into this truth, you can't believe some of the stuff our people are doing. Talk about astonishment is a curse, right? A lot of stuff that we see, right? Our people's hearts are wax gross. The lifestyles they choose to live, the people they choose to worship and celebrate, the things they choose to do, the things they choose to say, it's gross to us, right? And their ears are dull of hearing. They can no longer hear sound doctrine. Some of our loved ones can no longer hear it. They'll cuss you out for bringing out the truth. They'll kick you out the group chat for bringing out the truth. They'll stop inviting you places for bringing out the truth. Their ears are dull of hearing. Even when you still talk, when you talking to them, they don't even know what you're talking about. It's going in one ear, out the other, right? Keep reading.
Lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and should understand with their heart and should be converted, and I should heal them.
Right? So it was prophesied that God was going to shut up these people's eyes and their ears, right? So that they couldn't get it. So God already knew there was going to be a vessel fit for destruction. He already knew that there was going to be a vessel for dishonor. I got my china plates over here. I got my paper plates over here that get tossed in the trash. My china plates, I might use them, but I can always wash them, make them brand new, and put them back. But once who's putting a paper plate in your dishwasher or in your sink? You're not doing that. It's a plate fit for destruction. He had some use for you for a time, right? And then guess what? Put you in the microwave. You got kind of soggy. That paper started getting soggy from all the juices of the food. You ate the food and you can't do nothing with the plate. Now it's fit for destruction. You got to throw it away. And some of us were being treated like that. And God prophesied this back in Isaiah. He knew that there was going to be people to give up on him and do their own thing, right? And he said, guess what? Don't give up on me because I will give up on you. You got something?
It's all sounds familiar too. Going all the way back to the book of Genesis, right? The book of Genesis, chapter 3, to be exact. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, I'm about to read it. But what does it say right here? He says, he has to pretty much handicap us because his principles still stand, right? Because we understand, and if we repent, he has no choice but to heal us because his principles still stand. So that's why that spirit of slumber came upon us to chasten us, to get what we rightfully deserve, right? That chastisement. But this is Genesis chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 22, right? This is right after Adam and Eve had, did the great sin. And it reads, and the Lord God said, behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil. Now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever, right? Verse 23, therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from once he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and flaming sword turn every way to keep the way of the tree of life. It's the same thing that happened in the book of Genesis, right? We fell, right? We fell from grace, we sinned, and then we had to pay for that. And to keep us from still receiving that tree of life, even after we sinned, his principles still stood. He had to put somebody in place to guard the garden, because at that time, if Adam understood, all I got to do is eat it from the tree of life again, and I'll be all good, right? But sometimes the Most High God, He's put stumbling blocks in our paths, right? He dumbs our ears, He blinds us, right? So we can't see the way, just so He can prove His point, just so He can give us that rightful judgment. That because He says that His judgment is likened into a ring, it's got to come to pass, right? And so sometimes He has to put those stumbling blocks in front of us so we can reap our judgment and we can learn from the judgments.
Exactly, man. And a lot of times He'll use other people, right, and judge them, right? He'll cause them to go off and judge them so that He can teach you a lesson. Some people are made just to teach you, right? And that's great honor. You should always wake up thanking God that He chose you to come into this knowledge and this truth, right? To be in good health, to believe, as The Rock said. And his
Con, that's a mighty point, man. Because you can think about it, that's the ultimate mercy. Because if we going by the principle, Salaki,
oh Lord,
if we going by the principles that he set in the book of Matthew that we just read, right? Our eyes are supposed to be blinded, our ears are supposed to be dumb right now. So if they're not, if your ears are unplugged, if your eyes are wide open, right? Hey, that's mercy. That's a blessing because you're not supposed to understand these things, and we understand them now.
Con,
And
man.
so just Salakia, but just like it's like a cheat code, right? You know, he gave us that mercy, and now we can reach for that tree of life again. The one that he put a stumbling block in front of Adam so he couldn't reach. Now we can reach for that life again, right? Now our ears are open. Now he can heal us once we get that proper understanding, we start doing the things we're supposed to be doing.
Right. How's that song go? Now my eyes are open and my ears are tinted to the praise that you dang, I forgot the words that I hear in this place. That's Psalms something. I forgot what Psalms that is. All right. Salaki, if you could read this.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 29. The bellows are burned, the lead is consumed of the fire, the founder melteth in vain, for the wicked are not plucked away.
Con, right? The wicked are not plucked away. Meaning, guess what? God is not slacking his judgment. You can't get away. Right? Read this next verse.
Reprobate silver shall men call them, because the Lord has rejected them.
Don't give up on God, because he will give up on you. He will reject you. You want to be wicked? You want to do your own thing? The Most High God said he will reject you. Reprobate silver. You're gonna be fake silver.
Con.
Right? You're gonna be that stuff that turn your neck green, that make you itch.
Con. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people in Christianity, they probably seen the title and it was a reproach to them. What is he talking about? The Most High God gonna give up on you? Most High God never give up on us.
It's probably people in the truth, right? But
right?
If you read your scripture, you should be like, oh, I know where the brother going.
Yeah, I mean, it's biblically sound, man. You know the classic that we always bring out. Many will say to me, Lord, Lord. Many will cast out demons in his name, right? And at the end of the day, he's gonna say, depart from me, I never knew you.
He's gonna reject you. Right? Even in this lifetime, he's gonna reject you. Reprobate silver. You know what else reprobate silver can't do? It can't last in the fire. Real silver can be tried in that fire. Now, lake of fire come, guess what? You're not gonna be able to make it. When judgment come, Salaki, when judgment come, you're not gonna be able to make it. You reprobate silver because you wanted to do your own thing.
Right. You can only fake it till you make it for so long, man. When that fire come, though, hey, your real color is gonna show. When that temptation come, your real color is gonna show. A lot of times we look like silver on the outside, but on the inside, we don't know none of these scriptures, right?
And that's why we got to bring it out, because brothers, it's still brothers today that think God won't give up on them, that think that they are David or Samson, or think that they are higher than what they are, right? Even God told Ezra, hey, many great men there were before you, and look, it's only going to decrease from here. We ain't gonna be as great as those men, right? Those men were made saviors.
Yeah,
we are looking for a savior.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe in Esdras it said something about the world first getting the world's gonna get more wickeder, right? And then the men are gonna get more weaker.
It was saying, yeah, as the world is gonna roughly paraphrase it, as the world gets older and weaker, and as the world grows closer to its end, the men are doing the same thing. They're growing older, they're growing weaker, living less longer. Hey, it said Moses died in all his strength. Nowadays, it's hard. I mean, we die in all of our strength because of curses, but we're not dying of old age in all of our strength, right? Because hey, look, we're not the same men. So stop comparing yourself to those men. Hey, and I'm not telling women to tell your husband that he's not King David, or he's not Samson, or he's not Solomon, or you're not Paul, you're not Peter, right? I'm not saying women to do that, but what I'm saying is, men, stop riding on your high horse just because you got chosen to come into this truth, because God still rejects you if you don't do what he's saying, right? Let's read this.
The book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 16. They profess that they know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate.
So guess what? There's people that's not in the truth, right? And the knowledge of the truth that are reprobate. They were probably born to be reprobate. They were probably fit for destruction from birth. But guess what? There's some people that are brought into this truth and whose names are going to get blotted out. A lot of brothers like to say sifting season is upon us, right? A lot of brothers going to profess that they know God. They're going to profess that they read and study. They're going to profess that they live in godly lives and they're mighty teachers. But in their works, they deny him. In the secret places of their house, in their relationship with God, they don't pray that much, right? In their works, they deny him. They don't really do charity, right? In their works, they deny him. They don't really give all praises and glory to the Most High God. They're still boasting in their own flesh and their own pride and their own self, right? They're not saying, Lord willing, if God allows, right? Being abominable. They still doing what they want to do. There's some brothers and sisters that probably still think, oh, I know for a fact there's brothers and sisters in the truth that still eat abominations. But they in the truth though. You know what? You know what that is? This next part, disobedient. You're disobedient. God set a law, and because you think you're free, you're going to disobey that law. Why take any chances on that? Because guess what? You give up on God and his law, he's going to give up on you. And unto every good work, a lot of brothers don't like to evangelize. A lot of brothers don't like to bring up the truth at certain places. Unto every good work, reprobate. Meaning you're fake. You're a phony. Right? Come on, let's move on. Right? I'm gonna get one more precept, and then I'm gonna get into the meat of the message and give that that mighty example that I found. Right? Salakia. We're gonna go to Psalms 81. If I'm not mistaken, Psalms 81. A lot of people think all of Psalms was written by David, but I guess historically they say Psalms 81 was written by Moses. Something to think about. All right. Matter of fact, I think it's like Psalm 60 or Psalms somewhere around there where it says, and these were the end of David's prayers. Something to think about. Fun fact on Factual Friday. Let's read this real quick. We're going to read verses 11 through 30.
The book of Psalms, chapter 81 and 11. But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Israel would none of me.
Right? We didn't want the Most High God. We could see this in our forefathers, our foremothers in the Bible. Right? We could see this in our forefathers and our foremothers 100 years ago. Right? Back into slavery, back into wherever we was doing. You know, before we came over here, right? A little fact, right? We actually were into the Nation of Islam more heavily than you think, right? When they were getting us from Africa, a lot of us, we didn't want Christianity because we were already Muslim, right? They had already converted us to being Muslim. That's that wooden stone. That stone really, like, we was really honoring that stone for a long time. And then they forced Christianity upon us, make it even worse. Now we so far away from God, right? But his people would not hearken unto his voice. Guess what? God gave up on them. You know how many people died in slavery? You know how many people died in Africa? You know how many people died in the siege of 70 AD because they gave up on the Most High God? You know how many people died in the wilderness because they didn't want to listen, right? Let's get this next verse.
So I gave them up unto their own hearts, lusts, and they walked in their own counsels.
He gave them up to their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsel. God's gonna give up on you. Oh, you think you smart? Oh, you think you know it all? All right. I'm gonna make you feel like you're being led by me, but I'm gonna let you do you, right? I'm gonna let you do you. You're gonna be, I think God want me to do this, and you're gonna do it. God made you do that, right? Let's get the next verse. He's giving up on you if you're gonna give up on him now.
Khan. Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways.
He wants you to do it. Look, he don't want you to walk away from him, right? Keep going.
I should soon have subdued their enemies and turned my hand against their adversaries.
If we would have did this, hey, look, he would have never departed from us. If we didn't give up on God, he would have never gave up on us. Right? Yes, he turned his face from us. And I got a confession to make, man. When I first came in this truth, and I wasn't really read, a Christian apologist or a non-denominational Christian, I believe he's a pastor of a mega church now, tried me, right? I wasn't ready for it then. But he tried me, and he said, he gave this glorious breakdown of God's mercy and his agape love. You know they love using that, right? And he told me at one point God turned his face away from Israel. And I said, what? God? Yeah, I just came into the truth now. And I'm like, God never turned his face from Israel? Because, you know, I'm watching videos. You only have I known, right? I'm your God and none else, right? Surely my mercy won't depart. I'm Jacob, my elect, right? I will set Jacob in his land, right? Keeping his promises, his covenants, right? Reading Romans 9. I'm reading all this. I'm like, man, God never turned his face on us. But lo and behold, if you read them scriptures, it does say God turned his face from us. So I got to repent from saying that, right? The brother cut me, and I didn't even know he cut me back then. But anyway, let's read this.
Khan. And you know, one of the major times he turned his face from us was, you know, during the Maccabees, right? And you know, he didn't really talk to us by no prophets back then. It was all, you know, through our zeal that we was any way connected to the Most High, and that he was operating on our behalf, because, you know, we didn't have no prophets back then for real. We didn't really have no priesthood set up for real. It was kind of like a lot how you see us right now in America. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is them brothers was about it, and that's how we got to get back to, right?
Them brothers, you know, they read the scriptures and they held fast to the testimonies. That's all them brothers had. They didn't have, like the brother said, they didn't have no prophets. They didn't have like no mighty ones, right? It was a bunch of folly before them, right? And a bunch of war and a bunch of beast system activity going on. And they held fast to the testimonies, and the testimonies is what's made them valiant, right? Reading about their forefathers before them.
Right. You think the Maccabees would be enduring? I mean, and the brother made this point earlier. You know, they said the world was just gonna get weaker. Men were just gonna get weaker, not only physically but spiritually too, right? Because if the Maccabees were around today in this daughter of Babylon, they would not stand for a lot of stuff that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we do our best. We come on here every week, and we teach, and right, we go downtown, and you try to teach our people, try to help our people downtown, man. We do little charity events, man. But compared to the Maccabees, man, we're really just sitting here rolling over and dying, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And so when you think about it, you got to do like what Baruch says. You got to go 10 times harder, because that's what the Maccabees did. They read that and they took it in full effect. They went 10 times harder. A lot of times we think we're going 10 times harder, man, but we really just cruising. We really just cruising, right? But this is the book of Psalms, chapter 81 and verse 15. The haters of the Lord have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured forever. He should have fed them also with the finest of the wheat, and with honey out of the rocks should I have satisfied thee. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods.
Right. We'll stop right there. Salakia. Now we're finna go to the example of the night, right? This right here, can anybody guess where I'm about to go? Right, it's a time where God's chosen people were seeing great things, right? But yet they were tempted of their own lust. When was one of the first times in the wilderness that we were tempted of our own lust? Before I go here, as the children of Israel, right? I know it's not that many people in the chat, so you said what?
I say, are you referring to the quail incident or before
Con,
that?
through the Spirit, the brother got it right. So the Book of Psalms talks about that quail incident, right? And we're finna get it real quick because I know a lot of people, like I said earlier, a lot of people they read that in the Book of Psalms like, why was God so angry with? Why did He do that? What did they do wrong, or what really went on right here? Right? You read about the quail, they prayed, God gave them quail, and you're like, isn't quail a clean bird? Why is He so angry? Right? Psalms chapter 78 goes into why just that. Right? Let's get it real quick. Right? If the brother could read this so eloquently.
The book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 18. And they tempted God in their heart by asking meat for their lusts.
Right? So guess what? It was tempting God. Right? God already said He don't tempt no man, but we have the nerve to tempt Him. Our forefathers now, they tempted God. They gave up on God. Did Moses bring us out here just to die? They gave up on God. They just saw God split the Red Sea.
They started murmuring, man. They probably was saying stuff. Hey, look, if we don't get no meat within the next 24 hours, we're gonna head back to Egypt.
Con. Madness, man. They're gonna give up on God after they just seen miracle. That they just saw the miracle of the Bible. That instance is talked about throughout all the Bible, all the canonized texts, all the Qumran text, all the apocrypha texts, right? It's talked about through all the texts, and they got the nerve to tempt God, right? Let's keep reading.
Yea, they spake against God. They said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness?
And they got some nerve. If God's the God of gods, can he lay out a table for us with gourmet food? Can he feed us in the wilderness if God's God? Right? They gave up on God. And you know Jake, man. Jake is really crafty with his words, man. They go when so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, when they get sarcastic, man, we go too far. Right? Let's get this next verse. Why is it freezing up on me? Dang, I think I went too far. Never mind, that was it. Come on now. Internet's acting up, man. Read this one.
Behold, he smote the rock, that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people?
Right. The people, man, they gave up on God. He did all these wonderful works, but he can't give us food. What kind of God is this? Right? Does he not know that I'm hungry? Man, God is omnipotent. Right?
Does he not know that our bodies need food to survive?
He the one that created your body. He know what you're going through. He know how you feel. Right? But you're going to give up on God. Wow. What's God going to do to you? What the heck is going on, man? Connection timed out. Satan, man. It's Satan. I don't know what that was. What's going on, man? Psalm 78, 21.
Therefore the Lord heard this and was wroth.
This is why God was mad, because they were doing too much, man. They gave up on God. If somebody gave up on you, you would be mad too, right? You got this ambition that you see a vision of yourself fulfilling, and nobody wants to take you serious. Everybody clowns you. Nobody wants to support your dream. You're gonna be wroth too, right? By the time you make it, you're not gonna have no friends, because you're gonna leave everybody behind. You're gonna want to make new friends, right? They gave up on you, so you gave up on them. God was wroth. And what else?
So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel.
So, hey, look, God said, you gave up on me. All right, I'll show you what happens when you give up on me, right? When a fire come upon you, look, keep going.
But they believed not in God and
They
trusted
what?
not. But they believed not in God.
They gave up on God. What will God do if you give up on him? I wonder. Keep reading.
And trusted not in his salvation.
Man, they done seen his salvation over and over and over again. The Passover, the Red Sea, all the plagues in Egypt, right? Like it just said, manna from heaven. Like it just said, hit the rock and the rock gushed out water. But they still don't believe in his salvation, man. They've heard about David, right? They heard about all these great men before them. Keep going.
Though he had commanded the clouds from heaven and opened the doors of heaven.
They didn't hear about David back then. My bad. Con, go ahead.
Though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven.
Right. He commanded the clouds above. And look, they were led by a pillar and fire. Fire by night and a pillar by day. That pillar was a cloud. He commanded these clouds from above. Right? Open the doors of heaven. Let the dew fall on the earth. Right? Let the bread come out. Good going.
And had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them the corn of heaven.
Right. The corn of heaven. What angels eat. Think about this now. God is setting it up. He's like, this, and God, he knows how a human mind thinks. God knows that us humans don't think it's right that God gives up on us. Right. So he has to list out all the things that he did to justify what he's about to do to the people for giving up on him. Because like I said, he's the ultimate judge. Everything he does is just. At the end, on Judgment Day, guess what? It ain't gonna be no back talk. You're gonna think that once saved, always saved. It's as easy as ABC and 1, 2, 3 and whatever they teach you, right? But God said, you give up on me, I'm gonna give up on you. All the stuff I've done for you in your life, he's gonna start naming it. Open up the book of life, he's gonna start naming everything. And every idle word you're gonna be judged by, right? Let's read this next verse.
Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full.
Right? A lot of times God give us the food that we need, but we want the food that we want. Right? A lot of times God give us the house that we need, but we want the house that we want. Right? A lot of times he gives us the friends that we need to be around us, but we want other friends. We want them. We want to be cool with the people that we grew up with. We want to be cool with the people that got clout. Right? A lot of times he'll send you your spouse, but you don't like the way he looked. You don't like the way she looked. You don't like his natural scent. You don't like her natural scent. So guess what? I'm gonna turn them away. Right? They're not necessarily the build that I want them to be. Not knowing that God can change anybody. God can everybody talk about Transformation Tuesday and everybody getting BBLs for a transformation and all that. Guess what? God can transform you. Right? I've seen God personally transform men and women, and they came in this truth and they start looking better. I'm like, dang, so-and-so is starting to look right. Right? Even in your relationship, a lot of people think, man, I'm growing out of like with my spouse. Pray and ask God to build that fire within you so that you may righteously lust after your sister that you married, or righteously love the man that's leading you. And God, he is the one that created all these feelings, right? We're made in his likeness, right? So when he gives you the meat that he wants you to eat, you got to eat it. And if you don't, that means you gave up on God.
Con, you know, It's nothing for the Most High God to speed up or slow down your metabolism, man. You drop weight so quick you don't even know it, right?
Con,
These things are easy for the Most High God. He
con,
made Samson strong, and within the blink of an eye, he made him weak.
con, con. Right? Let's get this next verse.
He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind.
Right? When you read about these winds, you know that's judgment. Right? When you read about these winds, they're not necessarily a good thing. A lot of times people say on a hot day, you like that breeze. Right? But these winds are more like when it's super cold outside and you just want it to stop. Right? When he, in the book of Revelation, when he's saying, hold back the winds, he's saying, hold back judgment. So guess what? Because I did all this X, Y, and Z, and they still want to give up on me, I'm about to call the winds. I'm about to call my judgment. You want to give up on me? Well, I'm going to give up on you. You had something to say?
Con, just like it says in the book, I believe in Deuteronomy, where it says that he scattered us with an eastward wind, right?
Con,
Saying he scattered us with persecution, man, judgment.
you gave
It
up on us.
came from the east and scattered us to the west, right? That's how we ended up on the western hemisphere of Africa,
Right?
right?
The Western Shores, con. And when I was working blue collar and I was a construction worker, it was this so-called white man that was at my job, and he was talking about his daughter. And he used to get graphic. He used to talk about how his daughter prostituted her body, and she's always dating these drug dealers. And he was talking about how he was so ashamed of his daughter, and she don't take care of her kids, and I'm having to take care of my grandkids. And he said, you know what? I kicked her out, man. He said, I kicked her out. I couldn't do it no more. Her mom was mad at me, but I kicked her out. I couldn't do it no more. He said, I mean, the worst that can happen is she ends up on the streets and she's on drugs. And then after that, she's either gonna die or she's gonna be taken to prison. That's tough for your dad to say that. Look, they're either gonna mildew, they're either gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like kick you out in hopes and knowing that you're either gonna go to prison or you're gonna die. And he was hoping that she would go to prison. He said, man, I think that's the only thing that's gonna get her straight if she goes to prison. Now they do drugs in prison too, so she might not, you know. But he had gave up on his daughter. And God says, we see it over and over and over again. He killed a lot of our nation, and he will kill some more, right? It's prophesied to happen. If you give up on God, if you want to keep, right? Physically, we see people smoking or people damaging their body or surfeiting, taking in excess, whether it be gluttony in food, and you're taking in too much food and it's not healthy for you, or you're damaging your lungs, right? Or you're drinking too much alcohol, damaging your liver, right? We'll see drug addicts, right? We'll see people carried away on their own lust, whores and whoremongers. We'll see people committing spiritual fornication in all these other religions, right? This is like God seeing you give up on him. God is seeing those things spiritually and saying, guess what? I just can't do it anymore. I got to kick him out my house. And whatever happens, happens. They're either going to die, and God has allowed a lot of us to die, or they're going to be corrected in their state of torment, right? So don't give up on God, because he will give up on you. We read it in the scriptures. Keep going.
Con. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea.
Like the brother said, right? He was on the head. Brother said, you talking about when he gave them quail? And look, so eloquently put, he rained flesh, right? Rain. Think about how many raindrops fall when it rains. He rained flesh upon them as dust. That's how much flesh he let fall. That's how much bird he let fall. That's how much quail he let fall. A feathered fowls, like as the sand of the sea. You know how much sand there is at the sea? He said, okay, y'all want meat? After I done gave y'all manna, I'm going to give y'all meat. I'm going to give you what you want in excess, right? And this is why he got to teach us not to have anything in excess. All things are lawful, but all things are not expedient, right? Be grateful for what you got. Be grateful that you're in God's house before he kick you out. Because right here, they're getting kicked out, right? Let's see.
Khan, and he let it fall in the midst of their camp round about their habitations.
He let this quail fall all around them. They was drowning in quail.
So they did eat and were filled.
Right?
And
They did eat and they were filled. They were happy. They said, oh, God heard our prayers. Oh, there is a God, right? Some of us, we're going to have to see to believe. And by that time, it might be too late. Some of us, we're not going to believe in God unless he do what we want. If he don't do what we want, we're going to go to the next religion that's going to do what we want. We're going to give up on him, right? So God foresaw them giving up on him already. But here, God is so so great in his judgment. He's literally giving them up to reprobates. They have a fake delusional mind that said this has come from God. So they ate it and they were filled. They said this is a good thing, right? Keep going.
for he gave them their own desire.
Or he gave them what?
For he gave them their own desire.
He gave them up to a reprobate mind. He gave up on them.
All right. You know, it's good to see this put this way, because a lot of us desire a lot of things in this world, man, that we shouldn't be desiring. And it's key to know that the Most High will give you a desire. I remember when in the world, man, the Most High God was trying to keep me from joining a fraternity so bad. But every night I used to pray that I, just make it into the fraternity, until one day he let me do it. And then, show me why I shouldn't be in there. And then now I'm reflecting on, the wasted money that I did, the wasted time that I spent, right? The blood, sweat, and I didn't cry. The blood and sweat that came from me, man. And it was all for nothing, because now, hey, I don't want nothing to do with it now, right? That whole time I desired that, and I was supposed to be desiring this sincere milk right here instead, man. Time I can't get back.
And that's the scary part about it all, right? The scary part about it all is God's mercy only lasts so long sometimes, right? And we'll see brothers in the truth, right? Or we'll see brothers about to come into the truth and God give them over to their reprobate mind. And it's hard for us to grasp. We still think that there's time. We still think that brother can be saved, right? But just think about your life. Think about all the things you was doing that you kept denying God about, right? When you first heard the truth, you didn't want to give up pork for real. We could eat 1 Timothy 4:4. We could eat whatever we want, bro.
Don't get me started on that weed demon, that marijuana demon.
You can smoke that weed. You can keep defiling your temple. You can keep destroying your lungs, right? You can keep having all these women. It's not. Look, sex is marriage. Right? At this point, man, all these women, right? They're all taken anyway. So I'm gonna keep doing. You wanted to keep doing what you wanted to do. Think about, like the brother said, he wanted to be in a Greek organization so bad. If he kept pushing towards that after the Most High God said, "Hey, look, this is my last chance. This is my last time. I'm gonna try to get you over to the truth. But if you don't want to, brother could have been lost still." The brother keep using, like the sister said, keep using profanity. You still want to keep doing these things, right? Certain things that God writes about in his law, in his book, he'll give you over to a reprobate mind, man. He'll give you over to chaos. He'll give you over to strife. He'll give you over to your own desire, right? And guess what? The thing about it, like I just said, they thought it was okay to eat the quail. They thought it was okay. You're going to think it's okay to move how you move. You're going to think it's okay to teach what you teach. You're going to think it's okay to do what you do. But that's a fake mind, a reprobate mind. Remember that reprobate silver we talked about? You're going to have a fake desire, a fake mind, a delusion in your mind telling you what you're doing is all right. But God has given you up to your own delusions because you just did not want to accept what he had to say, right? A lot of us in this truth, we just do not want to accept what is written. We want to make up excuses. We want to find this. We want to talk about this leader, this elder, this guy that said it this way. I don't think it's supposed to. Come on now. I don't look. It was written. Can't go wrong by it. Right. Let's get this.
It's almost like, if you was ever on a sports team, if you ever grew up, and your parents was disciplinarians, right? Especially in the so-called black home, right? You do something, you start complaining, you start whining, and somebody, your mom or your dad might be like, "All right, go ahead and play outside." You know what I'm saying? They give you that. Go ahead and eat one of them cookies, right? And you just sitting there, man. You, even though they said go ahead, even though they shoving it in your face, right? You just sitting there still shaking your head because hey, even though they're providing it for you and they say, "Hey, go ahead and eat it," you know what I'm saying? There's gonna be some repercussions.
Right.
Same thing happened in the wilderness with us, but we didn't get that. We didn't get that sign from our Heavenly Father, man. We didn't get that He was being facetious.
You know why? He prior to Him sending the quail, He had already gave us up to our own desire. He had already given up on us, right?
And a lot of times, hey, what does He say, right? A gift destroyeth the heart. Hey, that gift can come from God too.
Right.
Right. He can give you a gift and it destroy your heart.
When your mom or dad say, try it if you want to, you're not gonna try it. Right? Like the brother said, you're not gonna try it because you know, even though you have that liberty, even though all things are lawful, it's probably not expedient for me to try it. Right? Let's get this last precept, right?
The book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse number 30. They were not estranged from their lusts, but while their meat was yet in their mouths.
They were not estranged. Salakia, my computer about to shut off. I can't find the charger, but they were not estranged from their lust, but while their meat was yet in their mouths, what took place, right? What took place? Read that.
The wrath of God came upon them and slew the fatness.
And what?
And slew the fattest of them.
He killed them, right? Keep going.
And smote down the chosen men of Israel.
It don't matter if you're chosen. If you give up on God, He will give up on you. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. He gonna give up on you. It don't matter if you chose. It said, smote the chosen men of Israel. You keep doing what you want to do. You keep ignoring the signs. You keep letting wisdom walk beside you, and you're failing every test. He gonna cause you to go off. Don't give up on God, because He will give up on you. Reprobate, right? He gonna make you reprobate. The fattest of them, and smote them down, the chosen men of Israel. This is not for the Christians. This is for the people that know they're chosen. He will give up on you. You don't have the anointing that Solomon had on him. You don't have the anointing that David had on him. These men brought you into the truth by you reading about your forefathers. They were used for a purpose. You don't have that anointing. So Psalms is telling you, the New Testament is telling you, don't give up on God, because He will give up on you. I yield. You got anything?
I did. We can bring it out real quick. Psalms 5 and 5. Psalms 5 and 5 goes along with the goes along with this lesson, man. A lot of people will say, the Most High God, man, He hates the sin. He doesn't hate the sinner. That's why He'll never give up on us, right? But what does the Bible say? What does the book of the law say, right?
I'll read it. Psalms 5 and 5. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity.
Right? Not only does He hate iniquity, He hates the workers of iniquity as well. And what does it say at the beginning? The foolish shall not stand in His sight. He's going to reject you, right? He's going to, like the brother said, He's going to give up on you. If you're acting foolish, right, without wisdom, you can't stand in front of the Most High God. You got to go, right? But with that, I yield.
Man. So, Factual Friday, man. It's a fact. If you give up on God, He will give up on you. Don't listen to what your pastor say. Don't listen to what your family's saying, your dad, your mom, your grandma, your granddad, your uncle, your aunt. your elder, your pastor, your leader. It doesn't matter how much you're chosen, anointed. It doesn't matter how much you believe that you are important. If you give up on God, he will give up on you, right? I want to say Shabbat Shalom. Peace and blessings to all those that believe. Shalom to those that watch this and were edified. Shalom to those who are going to watch it later on, right? I hope you were edified. I hope this taught you something through the Spirit. May the Most High God, I hope he operated through my tongue. I'm getting long-winded right now. You know, sometimes we just like to hear ourselves speak. But with that, I'm Azrael.
I'm Brother Donal.
And we say Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.